Hey guys, I'm making a video. Gonna go ahead and do a little movie review here. It's gonna be for the movie Kidnapped with Halle Berry. Um, got my little notes here. This movie does come out in theaters August 4th. If you have a Fire Stick and it has Cody on it, you can watch it now, like I did. Um, yeah, all that fun stuff. And excuse the noise if it comes off like really loud or whatever. But the movie had Halle Berry, Lou Temple, Sage Correa, and Chris McGinn. Those are pretty much the biggest names here. And so from the preview, I'm sure everyone knows that this movie is about this woman whose child gets kidnapped. So, I'm not going to go too much scene by scene. There will be spoilers in here. Just so you know. If you don't want to be... if you don't want the movie spoiled for you, don't watch this review. Because I felt like some of the things that happened in the movie, to me, made absolutely no sense. And yeah, we're going to talk about it. So, the movie is 95 minutes long. And this movie, basically they filmed all of this movie in New Orleans. And so we could start off with the plot. So Halle Berry's character Carla has works at a diner, kind of like in a small town. She has a son. She's going through a divorce, and she doesn't have a lot of money, and this, that, and the third. But she wants to take her son to the park, and so they play this game. They play the game Marco Polo, and that's basically her way of keeping track on him, because basically whenever she says Marco, he says Polo, and she knows where he's at and knows that he's around. Now, I'm not really sure if at any point in time... No, they don't go over any of that, so never mind. I'm not even gonna... Because I thought, I was thinking at first that he had autism. So, but I don't think that he did. I just think that that's just how they played. I don't know. But, so they're at the park, and while they're at the park, she has to take a phone call from an attorney that she's speaking with. And this is where the movie, I knew that problematic stuff was going to happen in this movie. Because as she's on the phone talking to the attorney, she's like, don't move, don't go nowhere. And she's like, Marco, and he's like, Polo, and he's sitting there. But she has her back turned while she's on the phone, which made absolutely no sense to me, because you can be away from your child but still looking at them. It was, so basically they set it up too obviously that he was going to get kidnapped in these brief moments that she was on the phone with the attorney. And then the woman that he's sitting next to was like, oh, I didn't even see him get up and walk away. Don't know. I know this is a movie, so things are set up to make this type of thing happen. Because I know, from a person, I'm very, observant. And so, if someone's child got up and walked away, and I had been sitting next to them for a minute, I would be like, oh, excuse me, blah, 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 your child is walking off, I'm like that, because it's not even just, children getting kidnapped. It's, them getting hurt, or anything of that nature. I'm not feeling it. And so, so she's looking around the park. She's trying to find him. She's yelling out Marco, and then she starts calling his name. So then this other lady was like, oh, is your son missing? What does he look like? What's his name? And so now they got people looking. As the lady went to go get the little security, because I think they're also having, a carnival at the park or something like that. As they're doing that, she looks over and she sees that her son's getting put into the car. So she's running. She takes off after the car. And she basically, in them seconds as well, dropped her phone, all that stuff. So she hops in her vehicle and she takes off after the car. She can't call 911 because she has no phone. So she's chasing the car. They're going in and out of traffic, you know. And what I was also I was kind of like, ooh, was because as she's chasing the car, I felt like, especially in the beginnings of the movie, she was I understand, like, having that concern, like, I don't want to do too much to the car because my child's in the car, but the people driving the car were so reckless that I kind of felt like she was playing it safe while they were being reckless. And I was kind of like, I understand you're worried about your child's safety, but apparently these kidnappers aren't worried about his safety because they're doing problematic stuff too. Like, because in my opinion, they kidnapped your child for a reason. Now, my first thought, these are my first two thoughts when the movie first started. One, they're kidnapping him because she's going through this divorce and the husband wants custody of him. And gonna make it seem like she's an untrustworthy mother and this and the third. And then my second thought was for sex trafficking. So the movie is very obvious. The movie is very in your face with the fact that these are the two solutions. They introduce her and you figure out she's going through a divorce, and then now you got random people kidnapping kids. So one or the other, you know? And so then we have a situation where she's chasing after them. They eventually get to a place where they're both stopped, and this man gets out the car, and I ain't trying to be offending nobody, but some hillbillies, like, I was just really confused. When I first saw the characters, I was like, huh? The only reason why seeing them made me think that they weren't part of the sex trafficking was because of their look. They had a very hillbilly, not rich, don't got money type look, you know? And so I was just like, okay. And then he comes at her like, oh, stop following us, or we gonna shoot him. And I'm like, and my first thought was like, they're not gonna shoot him, because if they wanted to just kidnap a kid and kill him, they would have did it by now because of all the chaos and shit that you didn't cause. Y'all causing car accidents. They got to drive 100,000 miles per hour to get away from you and all this other stuff. And so then, and she good, because I would have ran the motherfucker over. Like, I didn't understand why she got out the car to even speak to him and try to reason with him. You can't, like, why are you reasoning with kidnappers? Like, I was not feeling that. I was like, nah, like, you should have ran his ass over, and then we would have, have to deal with the second person that was in the car. So he finally, goes back to the car, and then the wife or girlfriend, wife, whoever the fuck that was to him, sorry, cursing, comes and she basically tries to like, oh, you gonna take us to the bank and you gonna give us this money and this, that, and the third. I'm like, so when she said that, that made me believe that it wasn't the father, because I'm like, she works at a diner. Like, she's a waitress. She ain't got no money, So like, and they were asking for like 10 grand or $20,000 or something super crazy. And I was like, she ain't got that. And so while they're driving, let me try to figure out, I think, what was her name? Let's see. Oh, the lady's name was Carla, because I don't want to keep saying white lady, white man, because they had names. So no. Carla is Halle Berry's character. That's what Margot is her name. So Margot gets in the car and basically tells her, you give us this money, you know, you'll get your son back and we'll just go on about our day. But then as they're driving, Margot tries to kill Halle Berry, but Halle Berry end up basically getting that bitch out the car and leaving her in the tunnel. So Halle Berry puts on the stuff and tells him to go, like, oh, it's me, it, like pretending to be Margot, and they take off. So Margot's left in the dust. So now her son's only with the one person. So she's still going. Then he threatens to like push her son out or something out the car. So basically saying, yo, you need to back off and stop chasing me. So she does. She stops and gets to the police station. And like before then, there's also this super dramatic scene where she does get a police officer's attention and she's trying to tell him that that they kidnapped her son or whatever, but they end up pinning the officer. Officer goes down, so he's useless. So back to where I was at. So she gets to the town, she goes into the police station, she tells the police what's happening, this, that, and the third. And, you know, they're like, okay, ma'am, you know, did you alert his father? You should probably let him know that his son's kidnapped, this, that, and the third. So she calls and leaves him a message. And as she's doing that, she's looking around the wall and she's seeing that there's a lot of missing persons, a lot of missing children. And that it's a real possibility that her child may never be found. So she's just basically like, no, ma'am, this is not happening. She ends up going in the same direction as the kidnappers, well, the kidnapper, and she ends up finding them again by luck, really, because he switched vehicles and whatnot, and then she ends up getting into this really big accident because her car ran out of gas. She was on the road. This person comes in a truck and he's like, you know, how can I help you, ma'am? Like, are you okay? This, that, and the third. And she's like, oh, somebody kidnapped my son. They went that way. And then they were like, well, that's a dead end, so he ain't gonna get far. And as they're in his truck, he comes back and basically they get into was that my doorbell? Anyway, they get into a big ass car accident, and basically the man that tried to help her with the truck dies, and then her and old dude just basically brawl it out. He doesn't end up telling her anything, but she ends up killing him or whatever, and gets out his ID, finds his address. So she puts it in the GPS in the car, and it says that it's like 2 miles down the road or whatever. And so she goes there, she goes into the house. Margot is there, and she's on the phone with someone trying to figure out, you know, what's going on. She's trying to, she's like, oh, he'll be here soon, blah, blah, blah. So she also realizes that there's a shed. So when she goes to the shed after Margot leaves, she calls the police and she tells them, you know, this lady kidnapped my son. I'm at her house. You know, what am I gonna do? But blah. So they're like, you know, stay, you know, find a place to hide, you know, be, you know, discreet. And she ends up going to the shed and realizes that there's other children there besides just her son. So her and Margot eventually do end up getting into a fight, and she basically ends up drowning Margot, and she frees the other children. And while she's trying to free the other children, the neighbor comes over and he's like, you know, who are you? You done broke up Margot's house. I've been living next to them for, you know, this amount of time, and this, that, and the third. And so she explains to him what's been going on. And then I want to say that he was like, oh, let's get these. Oh yeah, that's what it was. She said that there's 2 more children up in the attic, and he was like, oh, there's two little girls up there or something along the lines like that. And she was like, I never told you that they were girls. So then she realizes that he in on it too. And they end up, he ends up dying. She kills him. I believe she killed him, right? Not the police. Because it was really weird because, like, oh wait, no. I think the police ended up getting him. Because I felt like the police were on their way. And then all of a sudden in the scene, they weren't on their way. And then they came after he was almost about to kill her. Like, it was really weird. But that's basically how the movie ended. She ended up getting her son back. You know, she's a hero, you know, because she stopped this children sex trafficking thing and all that stuff. So that's basically the movie. On a scale of 1 to 10, I give it a solid 7. You know, I just, you know what it was about the movie was that Halle Berry, to me, not saying that it's for everybody, but to me, she's not that good of an actress. So sometimes in the scenes, her emotion didn't match what was going on. And it, like, just bothered me. Like, her hair bothered me during the movie. Like, I felt like, why are you wearing a wig? This is about a normal person being in a really tough situation. So, like, you didn't have to, like, why are you wearing the wig, Halle? Like, I don't understand. So, that's just me personal. That's just some personal stuff. And then, everything about the movie, like, visually was great. But yeah, I give it a solid 7. I don't think it's anything to rush to the movie theater and see. Like, if you got movie theaters that show, you know, movies for $2 on a certain day, like, that's the day to go see it. Like, it's nothing to be like, oh my God, like, this is what I gotta go see. Like, it definitely wasn't that type of movie. But you guys let me know how you feel about the movie if you've seen it, or you can let me know if you're gonna watch the movie as well. And yeah, that's all for this review. Deuces.